Museums are among the most interesting tourist attractions in every city, offering you an insight into the culture and the history of the region that you're visiting. In Tehran, the Iranian capital, the Islamic Revolution and Holy Defense Museum explores the 8-year Iran-Iraq War and tells you more about the events that happened during that time. Covering an area of 21 hectares, the Islamic Revolution and Holy Defense Museum is the largest and most modern museum of Iran and one of the largest in Asia. Employing the most modern devices to display contemporary history of Iran, the main building of the museum consists of 7 halls, each of which has been dedicated to a specific aspect of the Iran-Iraq War.
تالار اول در مورد انقلاب اسلامی هستش، بررسی میکنه که چطور در کشور ما این انقلاب به وقوع پیوستش و چطور زمینه‌های شروع جنگ توسط صدام بعثی فراهم شد و توی 6 تالار بعد ما به چگونگی آغاز جنگ، هجوم سراسری، دفاع مردمی و مقوله‌های از این دست خواهیم پرداخت.
In the entrance, the Hall of Butterflies welcomes visitors with a display of personal belongings of the victims of the war found in different battlefields. There's also a chamber that showcases the city of Khorramshahr back in the 1980s. The city, which is located in Khuzestan province, southwest of Iran, and a strategic port that was attacked by Iraq during the war. What I personally find most interesting is that as you visit this museum, in a matter of hours, you find out more about the history of the Islamic Revolution and the 8-year Iraqi-imposed war. You find out about how it started, how it continued, and how it ended. And you learn about the brave men and women and the sacrifices that they made to defend their country. Video projections, photos and sound effects, even temperature adjustments have been made to take the visitors back to the actual times of the war. Even state-of-the-art visual effects have been applied to make this experience even more realistic. As visitors go from one hall to the other, they are left with unforgettable memories of the bravery of the men and women who fought the invading enemy.
نقش هنر در جنگ، در طول سالهای جنگ میتونست این باشه که ترغیب بکنه، تشویق بکنه رزمنده ها رو برای حضور در جبهه ها و دفاع از آب و خاک و کیان کشورشون. و الان که سالها از اون موقع میگذره و حداقل جنگ فیزیکی در کار نیستش، رسالت هنر زنده نگه داشتن یاد و خاطر اون روزها هست که مبادا فراموش کنیم که چطور مردانی در یک برهه درخشان از تاریخ کشورمون برای دفاع از آب و خاکشون و دینشون اینجوری سخت و جانانه جنگیدن.
The modern design and interior and exterior architecture of the museum stands out among other similar places in Tehran, which surely amazes any visitor. Actually, many visitors have described this museum as an unexpected package, which reveals a lot about Iranian modern history and must definitely be visited if you're staying in the city. Outside the museum, you can see a collection of all the military equipment that was used during the 8-year Iran-Iraq War.
For me, actually, it's the first time I visit a museum about the war. Yeah, and I think the war between Iran and Iraq is important history.
First museum about war in my traveling experience, but the museum is had many photographs, had many movies to show the wars, show the people's suffering in the war.
Outside the museum, there are different parts such as the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers, the Flag Tower, an open area and a lake, conference halls, Khorramshahr Mosque, a library, and the Panorama Museum, all together offering a unique experience to those who are visiting the Iranian capital. Sahmeddin for Iran.
combination of divine and human art, a story of the Quran and the artisans who've devoted their entire lives to adorning the divine words of the Lord. Over the centuries, Muslim artists have tried to represent these holy words with their best art forms to create masterpieces worthy of the Quran. Today, we have a treasure trove of exquisite Qurans, each of which is an admirable work of art in its own right. But the story we're going to narrate may be different in comparison to what you might be imagining right now. Today's story is that of Master Sahmeddin Zamani's love for Allah, an artist who's dedicated 45 years of his life to creating the world's largest illustrated Quran. A man who finally realized his dream by creating unique depictions for each of the chapters of the Holy Quran. An extraordinary work of art inspired by Zamani's genuine devotion to the Lord and illustrated in praise of and in respect for his glory.
من کلاً در یک خانواده هنری به دنیا آمدم که پدرم نقاشی میکرد، بعد سبکم چیز دیگه ای بود تا اینکه یک روز به حرم آقا علی ابن موسی رضا رفتم، تحت تاثیر آیات قرآن و کاشیکاری ها قرار گرفتم. از خداوند خواستم که کاری رو نشونه من بده، راهی رو نشونه من بده که رضای خودش درش باشه. و به هر حال این مسیر من عوض شد. از سال 49 این کار شروع شده که 114 طرح هست برای 114 سوره قرآن که هیچ طرحی، هیچ رنگی، هیچ گلی تکراری نیست، همه به صورت گلها کار شده. حتی در این قرآن حیواناتی هم که نام برده شده به صورت گلها کار شده. من حدود 25 سال این کار رو روزهای فرد از اذان صبح کار می شده تا اذان صبح بعد بدون خواب، و روزهای زوج هم حداقل 7-8 ساعت کار می. فرد یک شبانه روز و زوج حداقل 7-8 ساعت کار میشه.
In this rather different representation, 114 designs for the 114 chapters of the Holy Quran have been painted on 114 canvases. You will not find any common background color or even a similar flower color in this entire piece. Zamani's portrayal of the verses of the Quran has been realized through the language of colorful flowers, all colors that can be found in nature. Each chapter, according to its topic, materialized differently in the master's mind.
علت این که روی تمام این بوم ها، تمام این سوره ها، گل ها کار شده این هست که به هر حال وقتی من شروع کردم ترجمه های زیادی رو خوندم، تفسیرهای زیادی رو خوندم، و وقتی که قرآن رو می‌خوندم بجز زیبایی، بجز لطف خداوند برای همه انسان‌های روی زمین هیچ چیز دیگه درش نیست. خداوند سعادت و سلامت و بهترین ها رو برای مردم میخواد و اینها رو دیدم غیر از گل چیزی نمیتونه باشه.
The most interesting thing about this special Quran is that all its concepts are expressed through flowers. Even the sinners are shown using colorful petals. Is this not a show of the Lord's grace, mercy, love, and compassion? He who revives whatever he holds within his gaze. Had we too seen all these colors and art in the Holy Quran? Art is one of the means of acquiring knowledge within the universe. No matter where you look, you can see nothing other than the manifestations of the artist's understanding of the divine essence. Art actually unveils the beauties that are scattered everywhere around us, beauties that only a few are conscious enough to recognize.
حضرت لقمان زیاد توصیه میکنه برای عبادت، برای نماز خوندن بدونیم که وقتی که ما اون دستهایمون رو زمین میذاریم برای عبادت کردن، برای سجده کردن در مقابل خداوند، این وجود ما پر نور میشه. از برکات خداوند است که یک حس بسیار زیبایی در ما شکل میگیره بعد این حس زیبا هم برای هیچ رنگ و نژادی فرق نمیکنه که این شخص سرخپوست باشه یا سفیدپوست باشه یا زردپوست باشه یا سیاه‌پوست باشه.
The cover of this Quran itself tells a story of its own. 114 flowers with 114 colors. Here too, there are no repetitive flowers or colors. Each flower is the name of a chapter. We see 604 leaves representing the number of the pages of the Holy Quran, with 6,236 petals as the number of its verses. The world of the Quran has been illustrated, and in it, the verses stand instead of sit. The tree is a concept. The sea is a concept. The forest, soil, and cloud, the sun, the moon, and the plants all represent something divine.